Hello, everyone. Hey guys, I'm here today to tell you about my biggest win and biggest loss ever in a street fight. So, I'm going to start proud and tell you about my biggest win first, because I think it's the least important of the two. My biggest win to date was probably about 2 years. Actually, this follows a loss, so I second both cases. Follows a loss to a friend of mine who we will call Christian. That'll work. So Christian and I were both go to the same little group who fights and spars in our hometown. And the two of us have been pretty close forever. We were never enemies in any way, shape, or form. Never really rivals, just always ran in the same kind of circles. And this kid and me both were better than a lot of the other people out there, just more experienced, older in some cases. And we finally got around to sparring a real match with everyone there watching, circling up like our club normally did, which hadn't happened up till then. We had about 40 people who would come out on and off, 50 maybe. So it wound up getting pretty big, and we just never matched up. Honestly, we just were both the higher level the fighter, the little more timid everyone is. We are both relatively high level fighters. If we both knew if we were to spar, it would be a very dangerous fight for both of us. I think we both avoided it for a while for that reason. But anyway, first time fighting him, he is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master. He just understands it better than I ever will. I'm a striker. Groundwork is not my specialty. I first got on the ground with him. He choked me out in less than 10 seconds. I think I tapped. I had got a little bit blurry. Pretty bad. He shot his left at me and then came around with a right elbow that I wasn't ready for. He gave me a big black eye that I still have a picture of to this day somewhere. If I find it, I'll post it here. And took me to the ground. He knocked me down with that strike and did his thing, took my back. Before I realized it, I was already dizzy, choked me out quick, looked ridiculous. I was considered to be about at his level, so I wasn't very happy with that. And that wasn't even my worst loss. This is setting up for the win. The best win I've ever had, was directly after that fight. About 3 weeks later, next time I went out, 4 weeks later, I tried to take time off because I got hit pretty hard, and I was training with other friends outside of it. So by the time I got back, all I could think about was fighting him again. I wanted to spar him really, really bad. Everyone at my school, everyone at this club, everyone everywhere knew. That's why I was waiting. When I got back, not only was he still being humble about the fact he beat me, he was super stoked to fight me again, absolutely willing to do a rematch. Really great guy to this day, so no animosity in this fight whatsoever. The way our club was set up, fights would last 3 rounds of 3 minutes until someone either got knocked out or tapped out. And if after 3 rounds and 3 minutes no one did, it just continued until someone gave up or got knocked out. At the 3-minute mark of the 3rd round, it just kept ticking. There was always a ref there to call it if it got ridiculous, usually my best friend. So when I got in there with him, we went the full 330. He was never able to take me down. I really worked on sprawling and bringing my knees up to defend it, scaring him away from taking shots at me. Those whole 3 weeks, so I was looking much better, and he had to strike with me. We ran up about to 4 minutes on the 3rd round, I think is what it was. And at that point, I did a switch kick and knocked him out. He went down, stood back up, stumbled over to the edge of where we were fighting, and my friend called it on him. He was out. He said he was out. Wasn't even upset about it. Great win. Everyone was happy. Genuinely one of my favorite wins just because we grew such a mutual respect for each other through that fight that I still respect and talk about him to this day. It's a fight that grew me a lot as a person. Now the not fun one. I already had to talk about a loss. I shouldn't even have to do this. The worst loss I've ever experienced. Worst loss I've ever experienced was in my junior year, sophomore year of high school. I was an okay fighter at this point. I could throw hands a little bit with people my age and people who didn't train formally. I was okay at street fighting, I guess you could say. So I thought I was amazing, of course, as everyone who's okay at street fighting does. And at this time, I was challenged kind of by a friend of mine who we'll call Tyler. Tyler's right-hand man challenged me to a just one-on-one until one person goes down or gives up street fight, bare knuckles after school. His friend was like, would you do that with Tyler? Would you fight Tyler? His girlfriend, as he's telling me this, who is a friend of mine, is behind him going, don't do it, like looking at me like that, like you're being baited. And I knew this guy's reputation. My school, my group wasn't huge. I knew he could fight. I knew he could bang. And of course, being who I was at the time, I said, of course I will. And I would. And I just was that way at the time. I didn't expect necessarily to beat him, but I knew I definitely wasn't not going to fight. Went to school next day. Never at any point, guys, said I wouldn't fight at any point. But went to school the next day with my tail between my legs. I was scared. I was not confident about the fight at all. I knew his reputation, and he had said to had beaten multiple attackers at once with his striking ability. So I was a little bit intimidated, and I went out there to fight him after school. Multiple people had told me at school I was going to die. We were doing it with just the two of us and someone filming. We were bringing a school around to watch, and that's kind of was a both of us thing. We just didn't want the hassle of it. And he was a nice dude also. Not a bad guy, not running his mouth, he's saying, we'll see, I'll see how it goes. He kind of knew the code. Got out there, and to cut the fight story short, the dude knocked me out, or at least down for a couple seconds and seriously dizzy, 4 times. Last one that made me stay down was a spinning back fist. Multiple times I missed kicks and got kicks caught because they were slow and not powerful enough, especially once I got winded. The fight lasted, could have been probably 7 minutes, just because I could only defend and eat punches, and he was just getting to tee off on me. Kept slipping on the grass, and I kept eating shots, so I wound up just going at the I'll stand up to your hits, I'll keep getting up kind of mentality, which is cliche as could possibly be, and I didn't even think about it all the time, but that's the way I went about it, and that was stupid, and I don't advocate for anyone else to do that, but that's what happened. I came to school the next day and the video was around, so I looked pretty stupid, but genuinely still got a good bit of respect for fighting, even though I lost. Wasn't too bad. I brushed it off relatively well. The reason that fight is so important to me, guys, is because that fight is what changed me as a fighter from going, I'm here to be able to beat people who don't train. This guy, the guy I lost to in my worst loss ever, was extremely well trained. I don't know if he went to a formal gym constantly, but he knew his stuff. He knew how to fight. He knew footwork. He knew how to throw strikes. He obviously had fighting experience and training of some sort. But I went from looking at it as I need to be good enough to beat people who are not trained, who have no experience in combat, to I need to be good enough to beat everyone who is experienced in combat. And that's the dividing line that I was talking about on my 2 types of videos on Black Cat Battles video that's out there. There's some for, I have videos out for if you want to beat people who have never trained a lick in their life and have no idea how to defend themselves. I can teach you in a bunch of quick tips probably how to beat those people. If you want to beat people who are trained in combat, which is becoming significantly more common nowadays, and beat people who know what they're doing. If someone in the club slaps your girlfriend's ass who's twice as big as you and a bodybuilder knows how to throw a punch, do you want to know how to beat those guys? I'm not a big guy, everybody, but I am confident in my ability to take people significantly larger than me and people who think they have a significant advantage over me due to how skinny I am, how small I am, or how much I'm able to conceal the fact that I know what I'm doing. And if you want to learn how to do all that and use it effectively in a street fight, how to win the mental game as well as the fight, then go over to my courses, select either mental preparation, select how to defeat a bigger opponent. All these videos are wonderful. All these courses are wonderful, and I think you would benefit a lot from them. But guys, this is Black Cat Battles. That is my best win and my worst loss in a street fight. Both of those grew me a lot as a person, and I think that's why I consider them their spots specifically. So, subscribe, like my videos. Devin out. KO's not around here. Show him later. Bye.